So you're new to Genshin, you're doing some temples on the current banner, and while you don't get a 5-star, you do get 5-star Alhaitham. I messed that up, but I'm not going to re-record it. You get 5-star Alhaitham. So in this video, we are going to look at the basics of, I just skipped a whole section. Now, what do you get with Alhaitham besides Kave's roommate? Well, Alhaitham is a sword-wielding Dendro user who is very, very good at being an on-field Dendro driver. It's a little late. I'm a little tired. This is like my 4th video recording of the day. So in this video, we're going to look at the basics of Alhaitham, how his kit works, and what you need to know about him. Now, just like we do in every single one of these videos, we're going to look at the current build of the current Alhaitham that we are using for this Alhaitham Basics guide. Also, thank you, Soup, aka Spicy Soup Slayer, for letting me use your account. Now, we are going to look at Spicy Soup Slayer's Alhaitham at their stats for this video. The Alhaitham is level 90 out of 90, 20,000 HP, 1300 attack, 351 EM. Crit split 62 over 210.5, 115 on the energy recharge, and a ton of Dendro damage because of the goblet. Weapon, Light of the Foliar Incision. I hope I'm saying that right. That is his signature. R2, by the way. For artifact stats, she is running a 4-piece Deep Woods, C0, and Talents 899. Now let's go ahead and look at his passives. The first passive, when his charged attack or plunging attack hits an opponent, it will generate a Chisel Light Mirror, which we will talk about that. This can happen every 12 seconds. The second passive, each point of his EM will increase the damage dealt by his projection attacks, which we'll talk about, and his burst by 0.1%. The damage of these aforementioned abilities can be increased by a maximum of 100% this way, meaning that his goal is to have, I believe, what is that, 1,000 EM to get the full damage bonus. This Alhaitham does not have that amount of EM. So now we're going to go look at his normal attacks and his charge attacks and his skill. So his normal attacks are going to do physical damage, nothing too special about them yet. His charged attack, however, is going to do physical damage, but at the very end, because of his passive, it is going to grant him one of the mirrors, the chiseled mirrors, and it is going to convert his normal attacks into Dendro damage whenever he has that little chiseled mirror. You'll see it floating beside him. Now we are going to look at his skill. So his skill is going to have a tap and a hold. If you just tap it, it is going to lunge him forward in basically the direction that he's facing. It is going to do Dendro damage. It is also going to infuse his normal attacks into Dendro damage. Now, something else that you're going to notice is as we're doing these attacks, the little chiseled mirrors are going to be appearing beside him, up to 3 of them. That comes into play whenever we get to his burst. Also, as long as one of the chisels are there, the chiseled mirrors are there, he will have the Dendro infusion. Once all the chiseled mirrors are gone, he will lose his Dendro infusion. The way that you get the chiseled thingamajiggers, the chiseled mirrors, are by using his skill, doing plunge attacks, doing normal attacks. So as you can see, we have 3. Now, once we have 3, we are going to be able to see that raining Dendro down. That is called his projection. The projections work differently depending on how many chiseled mirrors you have. When you have 3, it has that raining down effect, doing a lot of Dendro damage. Now, if you hold it down, you can actually aim it kind of like Chiori or Electro Chiori. I mean, Alhaitham is basically Dendro Chiori, right? So by holding it down, you can aim it just like Chiori and her copies. If you aim it up into the air, then you can do the plunging attack. So you can do the skill to get a chiseled mirror, the plunging attack to get the chiseled mirror, and then a charged attack to then get the 3rd chiseled mirror. Now we're going to look at his burst. And his burst is going to do a couple, it's going to do the same thing, but its damage is going to rely on how many of those chiseled mirrors you have. It is going to do an AoE Dendro attack, dealing a lot of instances of Dendro. Now, if you don't have any chiseled mirrors whenever you use his burst, it will then give you 3 chiseled mirrors. If you have 1 chiseled mirror, it will give you 2 chiseled. If you have 2 chiseled mirrors, it'll give you 1 chiseled mirror. If you have 3 chiseled mirrors, it will give you 0. It uses up all of the ones that you have whenever you use it. So if you have 1 and you use it, you will then have 2. If you have 2 and you use it, you will then have 1. If you have 3 and then you use it, you'll have 0. The more chiseled mirrors you have, the more damage your burst does. But if you want to do more damage off of his skill, then you want to have 0 chiseled mirrors, So that way when you use his burst, it gives you 3. So if you use his skill, use up all the chiseled mirrors until you are down to 0, then use his burst, it will give you 3 more. So depending on where you want his damage to come from, if you want it to come from the burst, then you want to build up the chiseled mirrors, use his burst to get the maximum damage. If you want his damage to come from his skill, then you're going to want to have 0 chiseled mirrors, so use up all of them, then use his burst, and then get them back. So in short, he does a lot of Dendro damage. So now we are going to look at some artifacts for Alhaitham. For a beginner artifact set, 4-piece Instructor is going to be very, very good. It's going to get up his EM, which we want. It's going to get up the EM of your other party members whenever you do a reaction, as well as increase his own even more, which is what we want. So getting EM is going to be very, very good for him. 4-piece Instructor, a great set to do. For the main stats, EM Sands, because we want EM on him. Dendro Damage Goblet, and then crit rate or crit damage circlet, depending on what you need more of. For some beginner or early game weapons, first we're going to start off with Harbinger of Dawn. Soup, or whatever I called it at the very beginning, does not have a Harbinger of Dawn. Doggy, if you would please put a Harbinger of Dawn up right here for me. This is a great 3-star weapon for him. It gets up crit rate, it gets up crit damage as well. You have to have his HP above 90, so you need to either run him with a really, really good healer, be really, really good at dodging, or run him with Kirara, so that way you have her shield protecting him. Another option, Black Sword. It's going to be pretty good. It's going to get up crit rate, which will be good for him. It's going to also increase the damage dealt by his normal charge attacks. However, the other Battle Pass weapon, Wolffang, which again, Soup doesn't have, Doggy, if you would please put up a Wolffang, would be better for him because it gets up elemental skill damage as well as crit rate. If you need a 4-star easy weapon, Iron Sting will be good. It gets up his elemental mastery, as well as dealing elemental damage will increase all damage by 12%, max of 2 stacks. So this can be very, very good for him as well. You just have to get your good crit split from solely artifacts. So we are going to talk about good teams for Alhaitham in the Artifact Grinding Hell video, not as much in this video. But real quick summary, he's going to be very good in aggravate, or in this case spread teams, because he will be causing the spread reactions, or just a really good Dendro driver for any team. If you are looking for a great Hyper Bloom driver, with like Kuki Shinobu, Alhaitham, and Xingqiu, them together make a phenomenal group for Hyper Blooms. He is a really, really good on-field Dendro driver, where for your last character, you can kind of put another Dendro character. You could put a, try and get an anime character in there to swirl and group. You can have another Electro character. If you want like Fischl in there to also get in on some of it, having Kuki built more of a hybrid, but if you want Kuki to be fully M, then you can do so many different things with just like Kuki, Alhaitham, and Xingqiu, or Yelan and Raiden. You can do a ton, and he's a fantastic on-field Dendro driver. Now that is going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, do be sure to leave it down in the comments. Myself or somebody else will be sure to answer it. I'll see you in the next one.